So I'm now going to move on to our 5-minute briefings, which are short, sharp, snappy insights into opportunities that employers can engage with. The first of those is the Kickstart scheme. So I'd like to hand over to Jane Lemaire from Portsmouth City Council to talk to us a bit about the opportunity with Kickstart.
Good afternoon, everybody. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Kickstart, it was a programme that was put together by the government when it introduced the Plan for Jobs back in 2020. It actually went live in November last year, and it's focused on 16 to 24-year-olds who are on universal credit but at risk of long-term unemployment. What it does is provide work placements. So from an employer perspective, you can host one of these work placements and you can recoup 100% of the national minimum wage for an individual's age. You need to offer at least 25 hours a week for 6 months. And you can also claim back all the associated employer national insurance contributions and the employer minimum automatic enrolment contributions. For hosting a placement, you get a grant of £1,500, which can be spent on supporting that young person during their time with you. And whenever you apply for a placement, you can actually start the actual placement right up to the end of December 2021 for that 6-month period. The job placements that we're creating under the Kickstart scheme must be new opportunities. So they can't replace existing or planned vacancies, and they can't cause any of your existing employees, apprentices, or contractors to lose work or reduce any of their working hours. That job placement needs to be the minimum of 25 hours for 6 months, must pay at least the national minimum wage for the age or the national living wage for an older young person. Based on their age group, you can pay more, and needs to only require basic training in order to get someone up and running and provide that 6-month opportunity. For each placement as an employer, you're also committing to helping a young person to become more employable. Okay, and that includes helping them look for long-term work, perhaps within your business, perhaps externally, putting around that careers advice and goal setting for an individual to really help them grow their skills and recognise what they do, support for CV development and interview preparations and developing their skills in the workplace. Now, the rules are changing. So originally, if you were going to offer less than 30 placements, you needed to work with a gateway organisation. And Portsmouth City Council, working with Shaping Portsmouth, are acting as a gateway organisation. And I'm very pleased to announce that we're actually fully approved now and actually officially recruiting on our first 2 cohorts. You don't now, from the 3rd of February, have to work with a gateway organisation. You can do your application in full. But the advantage of working with Portsmouth City Council is that we will help you put in all of that wraparound support, which is absolutely key to securing a placement. So we'll use our National Careers Service contacts to make sure that your young person has all of that CV support. We'll support with you accessing our wonderful skills providers to ensure that both our colleges and our independent training providers, you have access to their training that quite often is fully funded, so at no cost to you, to really bring on the young people in a way that your business needs. We'll help you link in with the Solent Apprenticeship Hub, and I know Amanda referred to the amazing work that team do to support businesses looking at apprenticeships and how they can help your business. So we'll help you link in with them, and obviously we're working with Shaping Portsmouth and Hayden, and particularly on that offer that's really going to focus on giving the young people that are experiencing Kickstart in Portsmouth some really great training opportunities to help them grow and develop, and more importantly also feeding into the wider business support that Shaping Portsmouth provide, so to make sure that you as employers are getting the support that you need to support a young person, but also to be part of that bounce back recovery that we're also keen to get involved in. Now, if as a business you're interested in learning more about Kickstart, clearly there's some fantastic government information out there, which I'm going to put some links in the chat so that everyone can read the government information. And you can look at the plans for job document, you can look at some of the guidance on the Kickstart scheme, but more importantly, if you would like to be involved in Kickstart, if you think your business can be supported by helping a young person, by having them with your business for 6 months and perhaps even bringing them in as part of your long-term career. And I know Michael's been kind enough to mention that he's one of our recruiting Kickstart employers in the chat, and hopefully he'll have great stories to tell as we manage to recruit for him. But if you're interested in being involved, then please feel free to email us at kickstart@portsmouthcc.gov.uk, or attend one of the many events that we have ongoing to talk about how Kickstart can help your business and help you to recover.
Super stuff. Thank you, Jane. A great opportunity for employers across the city, and a great opportunity for the young people of our city too. I'm now going to hand over to Amanda Percy from Port City Council, who's going to talk a bit about some other opportunities for employers to get stuck into supporting the work of schools and colleges.
Thanks, Hayden. Thank you, everybody. Everybody said it, now more than ever, young people need chances to look for their future with ambition. They need to be able to feel confident about the future, and we need to help them do that. We have a very active careers network in the city. It's part of the Portsmouth Education Partnership, and the careers network brings together careers leads, partners and supporters to identify opportunities, embed activities, look for funding and meet the needs of young people in schools and colleges. So through those careers network, we've identified some projects that we're currently working on. We could really benefit employer support. So one of the projects is led by Shaping, that's Hayden's already mentioned, which is Explore Your Future. Short interactions, 20 minutes, where young people can hear from employers and employees about their role, their career journey and opportunities for the future. Some of these are going to be live, but some of these are going to be filmed so that schools can show them when it's appropriate in the curriculum. And certainly we've had a good offer so far of employers, but I think we'd always like more. Simon mentioned virtual work experience, and yes, we all long to get back to face-to-face work experience, but at the moment it's virtual, and schools are exploring that. And again, more employers coming forward to support that agenda would be brilliant. I think it's really important we think about that being inclusive, and it supports our young people with special educational needs and disabilities, because again, they need these opportunities because we want to make sure their future is ambitious too. Many of you will know about the Careers and Apprenticeship Show, which will take place this year on the 20th of May. As you would expect, it's going to be digital. It's supported by lots of partners, including the LEP and our colleges and Sun. It's aimed at young people from year 10 and upwards, and it's aimed at young people who are making very real decisions about their career right now and want to hear about opportunities. So we are seeking employers who would be interested in participating either in a workshop or being on a virtual stand. So again, I'm sure Hayden can pass on anybody who would be interested in doing that. We're also building a network of champions who can deliver a very innovative careers program called I Can. This program helps young people identify a plan for their future and make that plan become a reality. And organisations like Pumping the Community are already supporting that initiative. Again, more employers that can get engaged would be great. Just a couple of other things to mention. From an idea that came from Portsmouth College, we're running a partial website called Flying Start, which is a progression website specifically to help year 11s who are, it's much tougher for. They miss quite a lot of year 10, and again in year 11 they've got to make big decisions about what they do. So that's a project that's been supported by the Careers Network and aims to meet the needs of the schools. So any ideas you might have, any support you can offer, we would be delighted to hear from you, and you can contact me directly. There's no impartial advice and guidance that partners can give are invaluable to our young people.
Thank you, Amanda. Really great opportunities there. And I so often hear from employers, not just in the city, but across the UK, that they find it difficult to find ways that they can tangibly contribute to the aspiration building of young people. Just over the last half an hour, we've heard countless examples of all the tangible ways that we can all play our part in making sure that Portsmouth young people get the best possible upbringing they possibly can have. Our final 5-minute briefing then is with Tom Lloyd on lifelong learning and adult education.
Great, thank you, Hayden. I hope you're all not too jealous of my background. Saw Steph, my hero Steph, and thought I needed to copy him. So following on from Jane and Amanda, it's clear to see that business is going to be at the heart of education in the city as we plan for the economic recovery post-COVID. And whilst businesses can help to shape academic curriculums, it's also important to recognise that the role lifelong learning and adult education will play in supporting local residents getting back into work and Portsmouth businesses beginning to thrive again. So I think it's fair to say that almost everybody attending this conference has spent the last 12 months reacting. And you'll see from the slide in the next 5 minutes, I hope to address the sort of green shoots of proactivity by identifying why lifelong learning and adult education are now more important than ever, how training can be used to ensure businesses remain innovative and agile, and what are the next steps for your organisation. So when we're thinking about the why, one thing that disruption does afford us is the opportunity to reflect and reinvent. And I think the impact of COVID has meant that customers have generally become more patient and accommodating as businesses endeavour to navigate their way through continually changing and evolving environments. And the situation's forced businesses to find innovative new ways of working, and agility has almost become a non-negotiable when we're considering how we meet customers' needs. An example of this for us as a college is how we've had to completely redesign our adult education provision and community learning programme to ensure that we're meeting the training needs of the city through new courses in areas such as wellbeing, remote learning and homeschooling, all topics that I've seen come up in the chat or through the conversations a moment ago. So when we start to think about how we ensure our businesses and organisations and institutions continue to be innovative and agile, I'd like you to take a second just to consider the knowledge and skills gaps you've had to identify in the last 12 months and the roles that you and your teams have had to fulfil in order to survive. I liken it to being trapped in a jungle on a desert island, needing to learn how to read a map or perhaps create a digital marketing strategy in the real world in order to sort of make it to the beach and the blue oceans ahead, or even your guide being eaten by a tiger, or in the real world, a member of your management team having to isolate for 14 days, meaning that you have to jump in and lead the group. And then you finally make it to the beach and you can see the mainland now, where new business and your reinvented organisation lie, which may or may not be Europe, but you now need to chart your course. And to help you sort of consolidate your new skills and develop your own, grow your own talent pathway, this model map that I've put together is there to really help you understand the range of initiatives and training available to you as you plan that reinvention of your business post-Brexit and COVID. So I've got to sort of frame this slide by saying that there are many more stops which can be added to it, but for simplicity's sake, and for it not to look like the underground tube map, I've selected this potential pathway. And the reason this pathway is there to support businesses and individuals is because every business and every individual has different training needs, different learning styles and different availability. So this is there to really just articulate the options available when mapping out your journey, which doesn't have to be linear. You know, you can choose the stops that are most relevant to you and your organisation. It could be that somebody's looking to get back into work in a new industry, accessing one of the programs on the Orange Preparation Pathway, which are being delivered through fantastic initiatives such as the Youth Hubs and the 16 to 24 projects we've already heard about, or the Kickstart. Or you could be an employer like Estee Lauder, who've embedded apprenticeships throughout the DNA of their organisation, or even one of the many Portsmouth schools we work with to support their staff to pick from either the adult education or apprenticeship model when selecting their CPD. And on the yellow line, you can see some examples of the skills training which is available to employers looking to create bespoke training for their teams, such as Perfect Skin Solutions, who have members of staff who have moved from apprenticeships through to the Assessors Award and then the teaching pathway, allowing them to create a training arm. So sort of what are the next steps for your organisation? Well, I hope that you found the model useful in considering the types of training available to you, and that it was a whistle-stop tour in 5 minutes. I should mention at this point that a lot of these training opportunities can be delivered free of charge or can be supported by localised funding. And in addition, in the case of apprenticeships, there's currently up to £3,000 available to support new recruitment. Once you've decided on the model and the pathway which is right for you, get in contact with your local training providers and they'll be happy to support you with further information. before finalising the training. And if you'd like to discuss any points with me, I'll pop my email in the chat, and please feel free to contact me. Finally, with all that information, I bet the one thing you remember from this 5 minutes is the tiger eating the tour guide. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom, and some great metaphors there. I just want to say a huge thank you to all of our contributors in today's education session, and to everybody who's listened so intently, engaged in the chat, and been part of today's session. I am just inspired and feeling really buzzy today, having heard everyone's enthusiasm and desire to make Portsmouth one of the best places to learn and to grow up in. If you think you can do your part, and you're keen to get stuck into planting some of those seeds of inspiration, or you're interested in finding out ways to help your own workforce develop and grow, please do drop me an email. I'll pop my details in the chat as well, and I'll filter each of your requests out to the relevant people. But a big thank you again today, and my God, has Portsmouth got a brilliant future ahead. Thank you, Steph, feeling really inspired.
Hayden and team, thank you. It's been absolutely amazing to deliver that 35, 40-minute panel with the passion that you all did virtually. Was just stunning. I was gripped from the first to the last minute.